right now, and understandably so. Everywhere you look, everywhere you read, the end of the world is near. Wall Street's down over 8%, and the media kind of pumps it up just a little bit, right? So are we all going to die? That's the question.
Well, they really hyped this one up. I mean, especially because it was the beginning of the year. They really, really hyped this one up. But no, I do not think that we're in any level of that doomsday right now. There was actually an article that came out, and what the media loves to do, Jason, is they love to use words that make people run for the exit. Words like plunge.
Plunge is a good one.
Words like cataclysmic. These kind of words get people to, sort of take action on their investments that they shouldn't take action on, and the media definitely overhypes it.
I was always raised to, you play the long game. You throw it in there, you leave it alone, and let's think about it. We're really in control. If everybody will be cool, then there's no worry. If everybody leaves their money where it is, there is no worry.
Yeah, but when you see it start to plunge,
well, that's when the pusses in the world start pulling their money.
Well, you freak out.
I say two things. One is obviously people have scars from 2008, which was pretty recent, where the market did have about a 50% decline. So people are worried about that again. I want to remind people that back in August, this wasn't that long ago, of last year, the market had a very, very similar turn. It went from the Dow went from about 17,600 to about 15,600, and a lot of people didn't panic at all, and it went right back up. But, like you said, the media has overblown it now, saying there's fears about China. Obviously, we recently had Greece. Oil is a big fear for people that they hear on, and so when people hear these fears, they generally run for the exit.
There's a town in Michigan, first town in the United States, dollar now, under $1. First place to have under $1 for a gallon. Again.
I saw that.
That's 78 cents or something.
But is that's obviously oil prices and everything are down, but that freaked me out. I mean, under $1 for gas.
Well, I had a boss a long time ago, Steve, that told me that fear stands for false evidence appearing real. Ooh. That's what they heard. And more often than not, I'm not saying that there isn't something real that's here a little bit.
Sure.
But a lot more often than not, that there's not, when people back up the evidence to say, well, why is this happening? There are things happening around the world. But the U.S. economy is still very, very strong. Still have low interest rates, low inflation. All those things are still very strong.
So this year, the housing market in Atlanta is supposed to be one of the best on record. People are buying it up because you also have to remember that when Wall Street is down, tell me if I'm wrong here, and Wall Street is down, stocks are down, and you see all this media hype, this is a great opportunity for those, no matter what your income is, whether you're making $30,000 a year, actually it probably profits those that are making on the lower end of the spectrum to be a part of something where you can make money in the long run, correct?
Well, this is no different than if you buy groceries or you buy clothes, right? You want to buy things when they're on sale. And so if you have money that you can save on a monthly basis, or you've got extra cash, if things were at a price of 10 and now they're at a price of 8.5, eventually, if you believe it's going to get above 10 again, you've got the prices on sale, and that's when you want to buy.
So if you look at it like this, okay, let's just say you're making $40,000 a year, and you don't have a 401k, and you don't take part in stocks, and you don't think you can do that because you have a family. But now things are cheaper, like gas, like groceries, these things, and you're saving, let's just say, $200 a month. Then if you want to break it down, you take that $200 and you go to Ted Jenkin at Oxygen Financial and you find something to invest in that in the long run you could profit. Take that $200 in 10 years, you might have $5,000-$6,000.
That's right. And people need to remember that when you invest in things like real estate or the stock market, those are long-term investments.
Sure.
If you don't have at least 5 years, in many cases 10, you probably shouldn't be in those kinds of investments. Where people get stung is they want to put their money into those very risky type investments for 12 months and just make money. And if it was that easy, right, everyone would be doing it. So you just have to remember that these things are long-term investments and they have their ups and downs. But over the long term, they've generally been the best investments to outpace inflation.
So on the low end, again, for those that don't have 401ks and they don't have stocks, they don't have IRAs, they don't have bonds, stuff like that, all right, beneficial to them because of face value. Things are less expensive.
Yeah,
pretty much it, right?
No question about it. And the truth is, Jason, a lot of the millionaire next door type people are not people that make $500,000 a year. There are a lot of people that make $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year, but because they systematically save, they start when they're young. That's how you build up that big nest egg down the road.
People get rich at times like these. All right?
Absolutely. Because and
this is all encouraging.
What are you talking about?
Everything I'm hearing. This is good. I
Yeah,
feel like I could strike it rich now.
Well, you can if you invest in the right spots.
That's why I've been talking to Ted.
Yeah.
Now, for people that have more money, though, Jason, there are some people that will think, well, what if there is doomsday? How do I protect myself? And there are ways in the investment world to protect yourself. I know that you guys like casinos and Vegas and
I do.
Yeah, things.
Yeah,
like
how
that.
good is that for your
Well,
future?
Here's an analogy that I would use for a lot of people that they don't understand in very simple terms about the investment world. That, if you play blackjack, which you probably have played before.
It sucks. I hate blackjack.
And the dealer deals you a 21. So you get a jack and an ace, and the dealer has a down card, and they put an up card, and the up card is an ace. That's the only way that you could potentially lose is if they turn 21, right? That's the only way that you could do that. So at one point, the dealer will wave their hand and say, "Do you want to buy what?"
Insurance.
That's right.
Yeah.
And most people don't because they have $25 or $50 on that hand. But if you had $100,000 on that hand,
I'd get insurance.
would you buy insurance? $100,000 on that hand, would
Sure.
you buy insurance? Right. So people don't understand
Sorry,
that
Ted,
in the investment world, this is true, Steve.
Yeah.
There are ways that you can buy that kind of protection on your investments so you don't outlive your income, or there are ways that you can actually invest your money in the market and still never lose money. There are ways to do that.
So that's kind of like when we, or at least I did, took my money and put it with Oxygen Financial. You, like anybody listening that goes over to you, there's a way to protect your money in times like these. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And because, obviously we don't hope there's another 2008. That's what people are getting scared about now. What happens if China collapses and has a flu for long term? Not good for the world. What happens if interest rates continue to climb? What happens if our national debt goes above 20 trillion? If all these things happen, is there going to be a run on the banks like we saw in Greece? That's what people hear on the news. That's what they're worried about. There are ways to be able to protect your money and make money in these environments. And this is the time when it's you've got to get active.
Graham always said, put a brick in the freezer in case the house burns down. It's never going to burn because it's frozen. So that's what you want people to do, is you put it under your mattress, right? A little bit different.
A little bit different.
Your grandmother told you to put a brick in the freezer?
Brick of money, yeah.
A brick of money.
Yeah,
Y'all call money bricks?
Oh, old school. Grandmas and grandpas, they would hide their stuff. Shaking your head in the room. They would put their stuff in the freezer because the mindset was that if the house burned down, wasn't somebody breaking in and stealing stuff. Mm-hmm. They would put old bills and money in the freezer. The mindset was that if the property burned down, it would not burn because it was frozen.
They didn't think about just taking some concrete.
Or put it in a bank.
Or put it in a bank, for Christ's sake.
He didn't save it in the Maxwell House, those little
the jars,
there.
the blue jars.
The Savarin jars or whatever.
I love the jars. Those are fantastic.
What kind of feedback are you getting from your clients? I mean, I know there's a confidentiality agreement, but for the most part,
are people freaking?
No, I don't think people are completely panicked yet, but certainly there's that initial shock. Not only is it the beginning of the year, but again, you have to remember that 25 years ago, if any of those of you who've seen Trading Places, remember that people used to sit in the pit and guys would have tickets and say, buy, sell, right? Well, that's not the way the world is today. Part of this is that there's so much driven from computers today and technology that didn't exist 20 years ago that if people set triggers on their investments to sell and one sale begets another, that's what starts to flood money out of the market and can drive it down. It's a much more mechanical type of market today than it was 25 years ago. It's not Trading Places. People don't sit in the pit and make trades like that.
Ken,
that looks stressful as hell.
With the market that goes down, but there are, people that are going to lose everything or have lost everything. 8.2% since the start of the new year?
Right. Here's where you lose money, Jason. Where you lose money is that your buddy at work says, Jason, I have a penny stock for you here. This thing's trading at 2 cents, but I swear to you, it's going to go up 20 times in value.
That's Wolf of Wall Street stuff right there. Yeah.
Look, it's the Powerball. Everyone wants to believe they're going to hit the dream of making 10, 20, 30 times their money quickly, but very few people can. And more often than not, that's where you're going to lose your money. If you buy quality companies and good investments over the long term, and you stay disciplined to the path, that's how you end up doing well.
All right, there you go. From the low end to the high end and back to the low end, just to give you an update on what's going on in the world around you, because it affects everybody, whether you're making 40 grand a year or 400 grand a year, one way or another, it's going to affect you. And Ted came in just to tell you that the earth is not burning.
I feel better now, Ted.
I'm glad. I wanted to make people feel better. The world's not falling apart 2 weeks into the year.
Extremely positive message. How can people get a hold of you,
Listen,
Ted?
well, what I did over the weekend is I put together a little guide on 5 places to put your money right now. So if you are concerned, you're worried about it, you don't want to lose all your money, go to oxygenfinancial.net. I'll get you the free guide on 5 places to put your money right now.
All right, excellent.
You look great today, by the way. I just want to tell you.
Well, thank you.
Round 2 of headlines. What do we got to give out there, Brandy?
We have tickets to see comedian Sebastian